We're still in the early stages of the 2025 NFL regular season, which means it is the ideal time to deliver hot takes and scathing overreactions. Now, when we say overreactions, we're specifically talking about highly touted rookies who've performed well below expectations up to this point. Dare we say, they already look like busts? Hey, it's not too late to hit the panic button on some rookies. Can't miss prospects like Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell, and Tony Mandarich started out terribly and they just never recovered.
At the line of scrimmage.
Run again with Jeanty. That's a bulldozer.
So with that, how about we dive into 10 NFL rookies who already look like massive draft busts. Cam Ward. Ward wasn't necessarily hyped as a can't-miss prospect like recent former first overall picks Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, and Caleb Williams, but the skill set was way too much for the QB-needy Tennessee Titans to pass up with the top pick. So they rolled the dice on the Miami product. But Ward's first 3 starts in the NFL were so disastrous that head coach Brian Callahan surrendered play-calling duties to quarterbacks coach Bo Hardigree. Hey, things gotta happen when your QB barely completed over half his pass attempts for only 506 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception, while also taking 15 freaking sacks in his first 3 NFL games. Ward is a victim of terrible pass blocking and coaching malpractice, sure, but Caleb Williams was as well and had a superb rookie season on a lousy Chicago Bears team last year. Ditto for Baker Mayfield as a rookie in Cleveland in 2018 and Justin Herbert with the Chargers in 2020. Your quarterback has got to make plays. Ward is missing easy throws and struggling to read defenses, and it's not like his supporting cast is really that awful, with 1,000-yard weapons Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard being at its disposal. Ward just hasn't shown superstar potential whatsoever. His entire production has left a lot to be desired, and you just can't help but wonder if the Titans are already feeling buyer's remorse. Travis Hunter. Considering how much the Jacksonville Jaguars surrendered so they could move up and take Travis Hunter with the number 2 pick, I think it's fair to say that his career has been, a little underwhelming so far. At the 2025 draft, the Jaguars gave up the number 5, number 36, and number 126 picks, plus a 2026 first-rounder to the Cleveland Browns in exchange for the number 2, number 104, and number 200 selections. The Jaguars took Hunter with the plan to use the Heisman Trophy winner at both wide receiver and cornerback. So far, the Colorado product has been anything but a two-way phenom. Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. were supposed to form an explosive pass-catching tandem, but both have struggled to find their footing in Liam Cohen's offense. I mean, Brenton Strange and Diami Brown shouldn't be Trevor Lawrence's 2 favorite targets at the quarter mark. Just saying. Aside from being non-existent as a receiver, Hunter has been even worse in coverage. Don't forget, he took that costly pass interference penalty that nullified a game-sealing 4th down stop in Week 2 against the Cincinnati Bengals, leading to Cincy's game-winning touchdown. I mean, look, Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, they jumped out to scorching starts right away. It would be one thing if Hunter were dominating on defense and just struggling on offense, but he's just been a disappointment at both. If the Jaguars are to compete for a playoff berth in 2025, they're gonna need Hunter to go from rookie 0 to rookie hero very, very fast. Colston Loveland. Given the Bears' deep set of pass catchers and need for help on defense, it was a bit of a head-scratcher when they took Loveland with the number 10 pick. They already had DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, and were about to use a second-round pick on Luther Burden III anyway. Sure enough, the Bears' defense has been a bit of a problem. Loveland, meanwhile, has done next to nothing to help elevate this offense. Warren Odunze or Caleb Williams, 2 main playmakers, with Burden, Kmet, and even running back DeAndre Swift getting far more work than Loveland in the passing game. In that Week 2 blowout loss to the Detroit Lions, Loveland didn't have a single catch and garnered just a single target. Oh man, the Bears could really have used some extra help on defense instead of a practically invisible tight end. Michael Williams. After losing an onslaught of stud players on defense in the offseason, the San Francisco 49ers addressed the D and used the number 11 pick on Georgia defensive tackle Michael Williams. The 49ers defense has returned to its elite form thanks to the return of Robert Saleh, but Williams has yet to find his game at the NFL level. And the 49ers desperately need that to change, with Nick Bosa suffering a season-ending ACL tear in Week 3. Williams had a lackluster Pro Football Focus grade of 56.5 with no sacks or takeaways in the 49ers' first 3 games playing alongside Bosa. San Francisco has survived a plethora of injuries to star players up to this point, but they won't be in the Super Bowl mix if Williams can't bust out of his rookie slump and replace the pass rush production that Bosa leaves behind. Matthew Golden. The Green Bay Packers made their fans very happy when they finally drafted a wide receiver in round 1. When they took Golden with the number 23 pick, it marked the first time the Packers have selected a wide receiver in round 1 since Javon Walker in 2002. Jordan Love is off to a tremendous start, yeah, but that's all thanks to the excellence of Josh Jacobs and the breakout year from tight end Tucker Kraft. Golden, however, has been inexplicably a total non-factor so far. The Packers have a rich history of drafting and developing stud wide receivers after day 1. Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, Randall Cobb, and Devontae Adams are among the examples that come to mind. And hey, Romeo Doubs and Jaden Reed aren't slouches either. But Golden was supposed to fill the void of the number 1 receiver role. With Reed out long-term because of a broken clavicle and Jones fracture, the Packers need Golden to step up because there is no separation or explosiveness in his game right now whatsoever. Jahdae Barron. It was a mild surprise when the Denver Broncos took Barron with the number 20 pick, given they were already loaded with difference makers on defense. They had the 3rd best scoring D of 2024 and led the league in sacks after all. Denver had holes on the offensive line and needed help at wide receiver. But GM George Payton and head coach Sean Payton couldn't avoid the opportunity to pair the Texas product with reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Pat Surtain II at cornerback. And hey, so far, not so good. Quarterback Bo Nix is off to a sluggish start on offense, and it's mostly because he doesn't have another stud wideout to complement Cortland Sutton. Oh yeah, and Vance Joseph's defense has been surprisingly lackluster so far. So instead of addressing the need for a receiver, the Broncos went with a luxury pick in Barron. And boy, he is just doing next to nothing. And well, that defense has only gotten worse. Yeah, it's already feeling like this was a bit of a mistake. Barron is only used as a rotational piece on defense and special teams. So please remind us why a team in win now mode drafted a guy that they didn't plan to utilize much in the first place. Barron, like the rest of Denver's star-studded but underachieving defense, is not making any plays and has been hardly noticeable on the field. Kenneth Grant. Miami Dolphins GM Chris Grier has a spotty track record when it comes to drafting in the first round, but the decision to use his first-round pick on Michigan defensive tackle Kenneth Grant was questionable right off the bat. Look, no doubt Grant was a first-round talent, but the Dolphins had enough pass-rushing depth with Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubb, and Chop Robinson forming a 3-headed monster. Cornerback, wide receiver, and safety were also way greater needs too. So, the Dolphins' defense has been unwatchable thus far. Then again, so has practically everything from the front office down to the coaching staff, and of course the entire 53-man roster. Grant was supposed to shore up Miami's leaky run defense and add another weapon to an already stout front seven. Grant has done nothing to help though, and the Dolphins' pathetic run defense is already allowing around 140 rushing yards a game. But hey, other than that, I suppose this season hasn't been that bad for the Dolphins. Malachi Starks. One of our favorite picks of round 1 was when the Baltimore Ravens grabbed Georgia safety Malachi Starks with the number 27 pick. I mean, hell, it felt like the perfect fit. Starks joining forces with arguably the league's best safety in Kyle Hamilton? And that's to say nothing of Marlon Humphrey, Jair Alexander, and Nate Wiggins at corner. Oh yeah, sign us up every day of the week. What we meant was sign us up until week 1 commences. Starks and the Ravens defense has been a greater disaster than the final season of Happy Days. The defense allowed 41 points in a Week 1 choke job against the Buffalo Bills and 38 more in a miserable Week 3 loss to the Detroit Lions. The Ravens secondary was supposed to be one of football's best position groups of 2025. It's been one of the most unwatchable instead, with Humphrey and Starks especially standing out as weak links in the secondary. Starks allowed a horrendous 110.4 passer rating when targeted over Baltimore's first 3 games. So don't mind us already wondering if he's a bust and simply a porous fit in Baltimore's defense that was supposed to be a top-tier unit. Tyler Booker. With Zach Martin shockingly announcing his retirement, taking Tyler Booker at number 12 overall felt like a real panic move by Jerry Jones. Booker was a reach in that spot, and the O-line was far from Dallas's biggest weakness. Hindsight is 2020, but the Micah Parsons blockbuster trade left the Cowboys with a punchless defense. So Jones probably should have gone with a defensive player here. Now, Booker is not on this list because he suffered an ankle injury in Week 3 against the Chicago Bears that will sideline him for at least a month. Oh no, he's on here because his production was absolutely dreadful before said injury. Booker had a horrific 44.8 pass blocking grade at Pro Football Focus over those 3 games, allowing 1 sack and committing a single penalty. And you are a first-round pick on a team in win-now mode, you gotta do way better than that. There was a time when Dallas had the league's best offensive line with Martin, Tyron Smith, and Travis Frederick. They could just throw in whoever to occupy the other 2 spots, and it would just sort of take care of itself. But that is not the case with the current state of this offensive line. Booker looked uncomfortable and out of place in Dallas's offense before his injury. If the O-line somehow improves while he's sidelined, well, it's going to be a terrible look for the Alabama product. Cowboys fans can only cross their fingers and hope that Booker will come back with a vengeance once he's cleared for a return to football. Ashton Jeanty. Hey, remember when Jeanty was hyped as a generational running back prospect who was supposed to elevate the Las Vegas Raiders offense right off the bat? Ooh, boy were those the days. Geno Smith has played pretty well in his first season with the Raiders. No small feat considering that Jeanty and tight end Brock Bowers have been absolute non-factors in the early going. Jeanty entered the NFL with far more hype than other recent and former first-round picks like Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Najee Harris. And while those 3 made big-time impacts right away, the same cannot be said about Jeanty. Through the Raiders' first 3 games, Jeanty had just 144 rushing yards and 1 touchdown, averaging a woeful 3.1 yards per carry. I'm sorry, but a team trying to win now with Pete Carroll at the helm needs way better than that. Who knows, maybe the sky-high hype on Jeanty led to unrealistic expectations. Most folks probably expected 1,500 yards from scrimmage in his rookie year at the absolute minimum. So not only has he failed to look like an all-pro, but he's hardly looked like a starting caliber running back. The Raiders did not bring in Pete Carroll, John Spytek, Geno Smith, and Ashton Jeanty to be a lousy offensive team. No, they were supposed to pop off. Now it's time for the Boise State product to buckle down and remind everyone why he was the number 6 overall pick. But which other NFL rookies already look like giant busts? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.